In this video, we're going to be exploring 4 top tips to communicate your energy levels to friends and family. I'm mindful that we're getting close to the holiday season, and one of the most challenging things around being around friends and family can be if we don't have the energy that everyone else has, or the energy that we used to have, but we fear overdoing it. We fear crashing, and sometimes that's what happens, and it takes away the joy of that time together. So I wanted to share some top tips and some ways to help navigate those experiences. Now, the first thing I want to say is just to validate that it sucks. Not having the energy that everyone else has means we can feel isolated, we can feel alienated. It can remind us sometimes how far away we currently are from where we want to be. That doesn't mean it's always going to be this way. So my advice in this video is, how do you navigate this experience? But of course, the overall focus as well needs to be making sure that we're building our pathway to recovery. And then the limitations we have now are for now, they're not forever. So my first top tip is to recognize for ourselves where we are. If we have an achiever pattern, if we have a tendency towards trying to push our way to recovery, often we are trying to convince ourselves that our baseline is further ahead than it is. And sometimes we have to have a hard conversation with ourselves to acknowledge and recognize where we currently are. Because we can't really communicate to other people our current limitations if we're not validating them and recognizing them for ourselves. My second top tip is to have a conversation ahead of time. If you're going to be going to stay with family members where you recognize you're going to need some rest time in the day, maybe you're going to be up later in the mornings, to have a conversation to let them know that that's going to be the case. It may be that they're open to learning more about fatigue, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, ME, and so on. And if that's the case, do send them some of the videos here on our YouTube channel, which can help give them more understanding and more context. But if we've had the conversation ahead of time, not having that first conversation when it's chaos and everyone's sort of rushing around and busy, but you need some help and support, but you haven't set it up, but really having a calm, measured, informative conversation about, this is my current circumstance. These are the things that you can do that can be helpful to me. These are the things you may see me doing that are helpful to myself. And I just wanted to let you know that this is currently where I am. Number 3, this sometimes can be the hardest one to do when we get caught up in all the things that are going on, is to stop before we crash. Sometimes we recognize the warning signs, and it can be that we just are having fun or we want to keep going, and it takes some self-discipline to stop that. But it can also be that because we haven't had that conversation ahead of time, we now feel super awkward having that conversation now, and we're concerned what other people are going to think. Are they going to take it personally? Whatever it may be. But the more we ignore our body, the more we end up paying the price for doing that. And so act quickly. If you can feel that you need rest time, go and take some rest time. Sometimes when we do that and we really get some deep rest, we actually can come back and rejoin what it was that we were doing. Number 4, don't take other people's stuff personally. Holiday times, family times together can always be tense, a little bit fraught. I think we all recognize that. And sometimes when people don't understand the circumstance that we're living with, they're going to make comments, maybe intentionally wounding comments, often unintentionally wounding comments. And then we become triggered, and then that goes back to them, and then all of our energy is going into managing the fallout. Something that can be really helpful is to ask yourself the question, Whose stuff is this? If it's someone else acting out their stuff, let them do their thing, but their stuff doesn't need to become your stuff. If you can use the tools, the practices you've got, if you have a meditation practice, regulate your system, come back to yourself, let other people do their thing, but don't let their thing dictate what's happening for your thing. So I hope this has been helpful. One of the other pieces, like a top tip we can add here as well, is if you can see the pathway of healing you're on, then in a way, even though you have limitations right now, you can recognize that those limitations are not forever. If you would like some help and support in mapping your pathway to recovery, do reach out to us here at the Optimum Health Clinic. You can download a free information pack, but you can also book a free discovery call with one of our clinical team to explore how we could potentially help you. Hope that's been helpful. Thank you for watching.